Alright, what is up, guys? JR here. It is Thursday, February the 8th, 2018. I have a pretty nice long setup right here on the ES. I'm treating it like it's a failed second entry short. It's a trap. You have a nice bearish bar right off of the EMA. You kind of snap down, then you get this nice double bottom with this rejection, relatively bullish closing bar. I have a big target on this. It's a 5-point target. I do believe I'm probably going to adjust that. These are just my parameters that I have for the NQ. So give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that brief interruption, but these are just the parameters that I have for the NQ. And basically, since the volatility has been so high, I've been trading with it and it's been working out pretty nicely. So that was a very easy trade. Let me go ahead and mark that. We got a quick 5 points off that one. And yeah, it's a nice trade. Basically, I'm treating it like it's a failed second entry short, although the actual failed second entry occurs right here. You probably could have gone long right there. I didn't particularly like it because we're so far away from the EMA. We're not back to our trend line. So I figured it's kind of a risky trade going long right there. So I waited. We had a correction right there. Pull back. You have a really bearish looking signal bar. It attempts to go lower. Prices reject, creating a double bottom. And then this turns up with an incredibly bullish bar. And when you see something like that, usually you have them trapped. So that was good for a 5-point move. I'm not completely sure how big my stop was on that. I didn't really add it up or do the math, but yeah, so I'm just going to go back to pause and I will see if I get something else. One more thing to note, I'm looking at 3 markets. I'm actually looking at the ES, the NQ, and the Russell. I added the Russell to my trading. What would be the word? I don't know the word, but I added the Russell to my trading, one of the markets that I'm looking at now, and it seems to be pretty nice. Thank you, John, for that suggestion. So I've been looking at that recently, and it's cool. And so yeah, but my main focus is I've actually been the ES this week because it's been moving so well, and I've had quite a good time trading that. Yesterday was fantastic. That was the first time I finished in less than an hour. Had 3 trades, 2 on the ES, 1 on the NQ yesterday, and was done in an hour. So that was nice. But yeah, I don't want to go on a rant or ramble. There's still at least 1 more trade that I need to make in this video. Hopefully we'll get 2 depending on how well things pick up. And I would like to keep this to between the 15 to 20 minute mark, so that way people's attentions don't drift too much. But just going to go to pause and I'll be back when I get something else. Alright, so I'm debating whether or not if I should go short right here on the Russell. I think I will. Let me make sure I get my order in a place that I like, though.
Order submitted.
Hopefully I didn't just miss it.
Order submitted.
I may have missed it. Pull back and film me, please. Yeah, I think I may have missed that one. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, so I missed that one. It's probably a good thing that I did because I had a phone call, an important phone call come in like a minute after that. So I wouldn't have been able to really record the trade. I probably would have had to get up and leave my room, but it's all good. It's still pretty early. It's only 10:41, so we will look for some more. Alright, so just a brief little update. I missed another short on the Russell. I was actually on the phone again. This time I was talking to my mom, and I missed this when it pulled back. I think I switched charts right when this bar closed, and then I didn't come back to look at this until a few minutes ago and realized that I missed another trade. This would have been a great entry. And yeah, we have what appears to be a 2-tiered channel working lower on the ES. We also have a measured move. I think my measured move was set to, oh my gosh, another phone call. 1 second, guys, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I think I was talking about a measured move. So we have a measured move. This leg, I think it's down to like 53.50 is the price. So we have 1 leg down and then a 2-legged correction, 1 leg up, pull back, 2 legs. And then we're pretty much in that region. We also have the lower end of our trend channel right down here. So we'll just see if this holds, see how it plays out. And yeah, so I'll be back when we get a nice setup. Alright, so it looks like I just missed a pretty good repeat pattern of the trade that I took right up top here. Basically, you have that same double bottom. Technically, it's not a failed second entry, but it's a failed second entry in my book because they're two genuine attempts to go lower. This is the first attempt right here, and then you get a pullback, and then this is the second attempt. It turns up and fails, and when you see you have that big old bullish bar, that's a sure sign that you have them trapped. So there was also a setup on the NQ similar to that as well, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Alright, I think we have a pretty nice short trap right here, and I'm not missing this one. I think I may have just missed it.
Order submitted.
Oh my god, I missed it. Hopefully this thing will come back and fill me. Wow. Oh my god. That really sucks. I mean, this is the same exact pattern. This is the third time today that this same pattern has set up once again. I'm going to leave this order right here. Hopefully it'll pull back and get me because I still think that we have more room to the upside. It might not come back and get me though. That really sucks. I thought for sure I wasn't going to miss this one. If I miss this one, I'm probably done trading for the day. That's really unfortunate. I mean, that's an easy trade right there. Very easy. And this is a 5-point target that I have that we would have blasted through no problem. And this thing's going to run on up probably to the other end of my trend line up top there. Wow. That really sucks when you know what's going to happen and then you watch it just slip away from you that quickly. 'Cause I didn't really waste any time putting this order on, if you guys could see that, but I guess I just wasn't fast enough. And it's a pretty nice trap. It's still 1 o'clock, so I'll see if I can get another one, but let me just explain briefly why I wanted to go long right there. Let me go ahead and mark that trade. The bias and everything is down, so that probably looks sketchy if you don't really know what's going on, but initially I had my channel drawn off these first two swings with the lower line right here. We overshot it again, continued overshooting it, so I measured the distance from the high down to the low, extended it down here. Usually you can do that when you overshoot things, and you kind of continually overshoot it because that pretty much means that you might have a two-tiered channel. And so that's exactly what we had. And then if you measure this leg down, there's one leg right there, and then second leg right there, that's pretty much a measured move. Basically to the tick, it may be a tick or two off, and so once I have that 2 legs down after a 2-legged correction, I don't even remember which leg I measured, but give me a second, let me figure out exactly what I did earlier. I think that's what I did, I don't remember, but after you have 2 legs down like that, we had an overshoot, we made it down to the lower end. We didn't touch it to the exact tick, but if it's off by a tick or two, it doesn't really matter. I pretty much figured it's about time to reverse, or not reverse, but correct, because this is all downhill without much corrections. We have a 2-leg correction right there, and that gave us the fuel that we needed to get these other 2 legs down. So I figured it's time to reverse. We have the same setup. This is identical to the setup that happened right here. And the first setup right there, that's just a pattern that repeated itself 3 times today. And if it worked right here, it worked again right there, most likely it's going to work again right there. And as you can see, that thing worked out beautifully. It's just really unfortunate that I missed it. But that's okay. You know, that's okay. I'll look for another trade. I could probably go short right here because this is probably a measured move, but I'm not going to do that because I think that we're still going to possibly come on up to this other end of the trend line just due to the fact that we've had 2 legs down and we came off this lower end. But it's 1:11. I'll probably trade until 2 o'clock, and if I don't get anything within that time frame, then I'm just going to call it quits, and hopefully I get something. Alright, so we're at the top of my trend line right now. We'll see if I can get a nice lower high or a failed second entry long to go ahead and go short. There was I kind of count this as a second entry long. This is a second entry long right here. I didn't take it because we weren't back down to the trend line. It's also a pretty nice double bottom, so you may have wanted to take that one. But yeah, hopefully I can get something nice and I can go for a decent runner off this trend line or really close to it. But we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're in this failed second entry long right here. What I did was I waited until we broke beneath this really bearish signal bar. I dropped a limit order right back up top of there. I don't have time to go for a big runner on this, so I'm just going to leave my target at the 5 points where it's been, and then that's going to be that. Let me go ahead and mark this trade. And unfortunately, I probably won't have time to go over everything that I did in this video unless I pause it, run out, go do what I have to do, and then come back and continue the video, which I might do that. But let me tighten my stop to where it needs to be. And I feel like we're going to punch through this bottom pretty nicely, and I'm probably going to leave a good bit of money on the table, but that's okay. 10 points for the day. I'm fine with that. So yeah, this was a pretty quick and easy trade. It should get it in a second or two. But yeah, overall pretty nice trading day. This week has been pretty nice. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna pause it. I'll be back, and I'm just gonna explain everything that I did. I'll be back in, I don't know, but yeah. Okay, I'm back, guys. Let me just briefly go over my trades for the day and kind of my thought process as the day was going along. So I came in, we were trending up at the moment, and then we began to correct. So I drew this trend line off these first two swings. We came down, broke it, had a short-term trend working higher, and then we kind of started going sideways right here. I saw a nice failed second entry trap, essentially, if you want to count this as your new low. First entry right there, pullback, second entry right there. But in the bigger picture, I was looking at this as this being the first entry, pullback, and then this was the second entry, and then you turn up with a relatively bullish bar. Let me make this a bit bigger. After a bit of confusion right at the EMA, which that's what really traps people. Kind of when you have confusion, they make it look like it's going one way. You get a big signal bar kind of showing that it might go that way, and then you turn up with a reversal bar right after that. I figured we had them trapped, so I went ahead and went long right there. Took 5 points out of that move, and then we kind of got a swing high right there, which kind of set my overall trend line. So I drew it off those first two swings, dragged it down. We overshot it down here, continued to overshoot it, so I wasn't completely sure what was going on. I had another trend line drawn, I think, off of a couple of these swings, just overall trying to get the feel for what was occurring. At that point, I kind of figured it was a range day and that we would be coming back down to retest the overnight lows. We bounced a few times, broke through it, turned up, and then there was the same repeat pattern right here that first occurred right there. I wasn't too much of a fan of this one in the moment because of the overall downward bias and me not completely knowing exactly where we were headed, but in hindsight I should have taken that because that was a great trade and it was pretty much an identical repeat pattern. And then once we continued and broke through the trend line and really made it evident that we were going lower, I just went ahead and measured the distance from the bottom to the top and extended it, realized that we had a two-tiered channel. I also measured this leg down and then stuck it right there. That was a perfect measured move. We also pretty much made it down to the lower end, and that's where this repeat, whatever you want to call it, pattern came in again. This is basically a failed second entry short. It's kind of, let me make this bigger and see if it's a second entry long. You can count it as a second entry long based on how you look at it, because this is kind of difficult getting it into frame properly. But this is really your first attempt to go higher. You have a pullback, then this is your second attempt to go higher. There's confusion at the EMA once again. You break lower, make that kind of a double bottom, then you turn up with a bullish bar. There's that same trade again. Wait a minute, did I just confuse I think that's the first one. That's the second one. This is the one that just goes to show how much of a repeat pattern they are. I'm over here getting confused looking at it. This is the trade that I tried to take. Got left behind on that, unfortunately. At that point, I figured we were most likely headed up to the upper end of our trend channel line. That's pretty much where we went. We actually broke it, And then at that point, I was looking for a retest of the low. So I either wanted, really I wanted a failed second entry. That's the safest thing. So first entry right here, pull back, second entry, it fails with a nice bearish bar. This is really the failure once it breaks beneath this bullish bar. But I didn't really want to use that as my signal bar, so I waited for this bar to close and for us to break beneath it. Then I dropped a limit order right where the initial failed second entry would have taken place. And just one more thing to note, just so nobody gets confused, I'm not really counting the minor breaks. So technically, if you really want to go down to a minor scale, this is your first entry right there, and then this would be your second entry. I'm not counting that because I think it's personally more effective, especially on days like this when you look at the genuine attempts for prices to go higher, because it means a whole lot more than just these minor little ticks, especially when the volume is so high. That's going to happen. So you can't place too much emphasis on these minor breaks above bars. You really need to look at the bigger picture of what's actually happening and how prices are making serious attempts to trade in a particular direction and then failing. So this is my first serious attempt, pullback. This is the second serious attempt, and once that fails, I like going short right there. And yeah, that was good for another 5 points, and I had to leave. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about today. I tried to take a trade on the Russell, got left behind on that. There were a couple good trades on the Russell. I think I tried to go short right here, missed that one, and then I was on the phone for this one. That was a great trade. There was another second entry short right there. That would have been a pretty decent one, but you're getting close. Well, you were at those lows, so you may have wanted to possibly reconsider that. There's a failed second entry short right here. It's right back into that trend line coming down, but this bar, pretty much, you trap them when you have a bar like this. Then you turn down, pull back, and end up with a really bullish bar. I think this was at the same exact time as this setup right here on the ES, and we also had a setup on the NQ, but I'm not going to pull that over here and show that as well because it doesn't really matter. There was another possible setup right there. If you wanted to take that, it was a pullback back to the EMA. This was a failed second entry long. I was looking at that one, but for some reason I wasn't really feeling a strong amount of conviction with it, so I decided not to take it, but that would have been a good trade as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Failed second entry long right there. And another thing that I will note is on these smaller markets, as you can see, the volume for this is only 123,000 today, and compared to the ES, we're at 2.1 million. So on these smaller markets, it's a lot safer to place more of an emphasis on the minor pushes. So a minor break like that, a minor break like that for your actual failed second entry, that's a lot safer when taking failures into consideration than it would be in a market that has a whole lot of volume like this, because this doesn't mean that much when you break minor above bars when there's 2-point-something million trades. But I'm not going to go too much into detail about that because I don't want to confuse anybody, and I don't completely know how to explain it myself. I just kind of know how I think about it, and usually it's easier. How do I explain this? Sometimes you know what something means to you, but you can't exactly put it in words for someone else to be able to successfully conceive and understand what you're trying to say. Basically, that is how I feel about these minor and major breaks above bars, and trading overall as a whole is a lot of that. There's a lot of different concepts and nuances and aspects and pieces that are difficult to quite put into words, but you just kind of know what they mean from experience in your own personal time that you've put into looking at these markets and kind of realizing what works and doesn't work. And that's just something that you develop over time and through trial and error. So as you trade and kind of get more in depth and farther into this journey, you'll know exactly what I mean if you don't know what I mean by that statement. But that's it. I'm not going to drag this video out any farther. Nice day, 10 points. The ES has been treating me pretty nicely this week. I've been doing quite well, and I'm satisfied with my performance, but I'm not going to drag this out any farther. This is JR. Hopefully I'll see you guys next week. If I don't see you next week, I'll see you when I see you. But hopefully you had a good week with all this volatility. And yeah, take care.